welcome to my channel. My name's Ari, I am 21 and this is my van. Towards the beginning of quarantine, I purchased my first car and my first home. It is a 1998 GMC Vandura. I found it on Facebook Marketplace it was listed for $3,700 and I got the price down to $3,000. It was owned by a man who had just a lot of cars, and because of the pandemic, he didn't anticipate he and his wife were going to travel anytime soon. And it had just been sitting in his garage with a lot of other cars for the winter, and he wanted to get rid of it. He also didn't like the bed that was in it. There was a bench seat that had like this button and it would just like slide down into a bed. Yeah, so that is gone now. My grandfather and I have converted the van together. I cut almost all of the wood except for the plywood. I wasn't allowed to use a saw. And I also wasn't allowed to use, there was a few tools I wasn't allowed to use, but I was there for moral support and I learned a lot along the way. At the beginning I messed up a bunch of cuts. I had to cut everything twice. So I went fairly simple with my design because I camp a lot and that's kind of what I want to do for a career. Felt that I don't really need a lot because my idea of fun is sleeping on the ground in the middle of nowhere and digging a hole to go to the bathroom. Plus cooking my food on the propane stove, so pretty much what I would do in the forest, but now I can kind of go anywhere and do it anytime. / I will be doing it all the time. Yeah, so I didn't do anything super crazy, just very basic. But yeah, so I think it was an article that I read where someone had mentioned, try things out with your first van, don't overdo it, see what works for you, what doesn't, what you wish you had done, and then take those notes and do it in your second build if you go on to a second vehicle. I think for what my grandfather and I have built together, I'm very happy with it. I'm very thankful that he was able to help me. This has finally happened. I'm so happy, and I'm not gonna cry. A bit about me. I went to school for outdoor education. I've always been really into the outdoors, wanting to go camping. I love canoeing, swimming. I'm the happiest when I'm outside. Right now I'm working at kind of like a cottage resort thing. I got hired as the leadership coordinator. Because of the pandemic, I'm pretty much just a lifeguard this summer. But honestly, I'm really thankful that I even get the opportunity to be here and be outside. Getting super tan, which is fun. And it's just a very large property with not a ton of people, so there's a lot of space to move around freely while being socially distanced, and yeah. Last year I made the decision to move to British Columbia. I applied to a bunch of places on Indeed, and a place got back to me, which happened to be in Tofino. So I actually, right before moving out to BC, I watched a documentary on minimalism, and I'm very influenced by movies and all that stuff, so I got rid of most of my belongings and cut down all of my essential stuff into a single suitcase and flew out to BC. Out there I met a lot of people who lived in vans, and I've heard about it before, but I didn't know if it was something that I was going to do. But after talking to people and asking questions and just kind of seeing how cool the lifestyle was, I decided to do a lot more research into it. And while I was looking on Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace, I found my van. I wasn't planning on buying one so soon, but it was really cheap and it's in really good condition, especially for its age, 32 years old. Thankfully, I had my grandfather to help me and guide me along the way, and also had access to all of his power tools because I do not own any of my own personal ones. Some other things that I still need to do is add a sink, auxiliary battery, solar panel. I haven't decided if I want a mini fridge yet or if I want to just get like a Yeti cooler. I might start off with a Yeti cooler and then see how that goes for me and potentially upgrade to a fridge at that point. I have a couple electrical plugs and stuff that I'll have to put in. Oh, and a fan. Alright. This is my van. Here we have some mountains that I painted on the entrance. Plant on the shelf. On shelves, this is going to be my kitchen area. I'm gonna put cooler, auxiliary battery, food, that kind of stuff under there. Here is my front dash area. Swivel seat. Got a hula grill. My windshield is dirty. This is my steering wheel. I love it. I have a new radio. It has an aux port so I can listen to my own music. Here's a little light. I assume it was for maps back before phones were a thing. Probably won't use a map myself. This is the bed area. My laptop, and underneath got the storage area. Right now it's just a bunch of junk, but I usually keep everything in buckets. And this right here lifts up. There's a hole down in this area where a post will go in, and when I can get the mattress cut and upholstered, it will become a sitting area where it's going to be kind of like, where's my finger? U shape, and then the middle piece will come out and the table will prop up. I got a bunch of fairy lights up and around. Picture that I embroidered. This drawer up here I keep extra blankets and stuff in. There's my fan and my speakers. All of the curtains were also made by my grandma as well. And so up here is cutlery and things. Right now I just have some pots and pans. Here I keep extra jackets and sweaters, not very clean. And this one is toiletries, but there's nothing in there really. So this is the back of the van, spare tire and a ladder. Ladder came with it. Something that we messed up on while we were making it was that this part here that holds the door holds the door kind of open when you lock it. We didn't take into consideration where it was and where the height of the bed was, so it has to be unhinged, otherwise the doors won't close, hence that there. Back, here's some storage area, not painted nicely, but does the job for me. This is what the van looked like when I first bought it. There was a lot of green carpet everywhere, with the bench seat and the third captain's seat still in. Although I loved how it looked, it wasn't an ideal living space. This here is the trim. The carpet was glued down underneath, and then the trim was screwed down over top. All I had to do was remove that and the carpet came up pretty easily. This is what the van looked like without the seats in it. Carpet removal was fairly easy and found out that underneath there was already plywood, so I was able to skip that step. However, I did not insulate the floor. I don't like the cold, and I don't plan on staying anywhere that is cold enough for me to need insulation. However, if I were to insulate the floor, I would use the foam insulation. Thankfully though, the walls did come insulated, so I didn't have to deal with that. And here for cutting the carpet, I measured a straight line with a chalk string, like a string covered in chalk, and then just used an X-Acto knife to cut it out. One thing that I didn't love with the way that the van came was the curtains. It was just way too much green, so I got rid of them and I replaced them with some off-white ones. My friend Chris helped me for a bit at the start, and here is the van completely stripped. I tried working on the van alone for a little while, and that was a disaster. Here I'm removing the table base. It went through the floor of the van, so we had to patch up the hole afterwards, but it wasn't too hard to remove. This is the base of the third captain's seat. It was a bit of a pain to remove. This is what it looked like once it was removed, and this is my grandfather coming out from underneath the van. Found a ripstick in the garage, so I took a little break and went for a ride. Here's my grandpa filling in the holes in the van. A nail went through the wood funny, and we couldn't remove it with a hammer, so my grandpa just grinded it off and made me afraid that my van was going to catch on fire. This is all the framework in the van, and before I painted it, and this is what it looked like after it was painted, plus the song I had added to my Instagram story. Here my grandpa's cutting a hole in the floor for the new table base to go, where my bed will convert into a dining area. A time lapse of me painting the step into my van. Unfortunately, my phone died, so I didn't get all of it, but here's the most of it. This is my documentation of my van, how it started, where it came from, who I am. Yeah, this is just the beginning. I'll have more videos to come, whether people watch them or not. I'm excited for it, and yeah. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and oh, I get to say this now. Give it a thumbs up or a like, and subscribe.